Anyway, let's talk to Chris Philp, who's the shadow leader, of course, of the House of Commons. Chris, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike. I've had a bit of a bump up. I'm Shadow Home Secretary now, but it's good to talk to you.
Oh, sorry. My apologies. I blame my burgeoning staff here. But I'm not going to sack any of them for telling me any untruths, unlike Keir Starmer.
Fair enough.
Who seems to quite like to throw people under the bus when he doesn't like what they've said. Well, as Shadow Home Secretary, then, you must have quite a lot to say about Keir Starmer's new reset, which is not a reset, with what he plans to do with the police.
Yeah, well, so first of all, what we're going to see later on today is, I think, a desperate attempt to relaunch his failing government after only 5 months. His approval ratings have gone down to -32%. The public, I think, are pretty sick of them already because they've broken all their promises. They lied in the election campaign about tax. They said there weren't going to be significant tax increases, and here we are with the biggest tax rises for decades, hitting families, hitting businesses, hitting working people, hitting farmers, taking winter fuel payments away from impoverished pensioners, all while Keir Starmer loads up on freebies from Lord Ali and hands out massive pay rises to his trade union cronies. It's no surprise they're -32% now, or Starmer is -32%. And what we're going to see today is a desperate attempt to relaunch a failing government. Now, on the police specifically, we're going to see some more dishonesty because what Starmer's going to announce, I think, is he's going to claim there's going to be 13,000 new police officers, but it turns out that's completely untrue. Yeah. It's what we come to expect of the Labour Party. Only 3,000 of those 13,000 are actually new police officers, and even those aren't being fully funded by the government, so the police are going to have to cut something else in order to pay for them. The other 10,000 are PCSOs who can't arrest people, special constables who obviously do good work but they're part-time volunteers, and the remaining 3,000 are existing police officers who are going to be reassigned, so they're going to be taken off 999 duty or taken off investigations. So when he stands up later and says 13,000, he is, as usual, misleading the British public, which is, I guess, exactly what we've come to expect from Keir Starmer.
And economical with the truth is one thing, but actually preventing people from finding out what the truth is another. He was speaking to Kemi Badenoch yesterday about the resignation of Louise Haigh, and he basically said he wouldn't reveal the details of a private conversation that he had with her with regard to why she had to leave and what the new information might have been about her fraud conviction. And surely he, as the Prime Minister, has a public accountability, and we deserve to know exactly what she did.
Yeah, Mike, I completely agree. I mean, the first question he didn't answer is Kemi asked Starmer, like, why he knowingly appointed a convicted fraudster in the first place. Like, why would he appoint someone to the cabinet who's been convicted of fraud? And he didn't even attempt to answer that question, even though he presents himself as some kind of morally superior man of integrity. He had no answer to that. And then, as you say, Kemi asked a reasonable question. The press have been briefed, apparently, that new information came to light at the weekend. Well, what is that new information? And she asked Starmer that question, and he refused to answer, said it was private. But it's not private when we're talking about the Prime Minister appointing a Secretary of State, who, by the way, as Transport Secretary, she has responsibility for the British Transport Police. So I think Keir Starmer does need to answer these questions. Why he appointed a convicted fraudster, firstly, and secondly, what is this new information that allegedly came to light?
Yeah, it's absolutely extraordinary times when the Prime Minister thinks he doesn't have to answer for anything that he does while he's at Prime Minister's questions, which is literally where he has to answer the questions. I'm just going to let you off with a light one at the end. Cliff Richards in the Telegraph today saying he makes the best gravy in the world. He puts a load of stock cubes together and sticks a load of teriyaki sauce in it. I don't know whether you do anything towards the Christmas dinner table, Chris, but I mean, do you have a favourite gravy recipe?
Well, I mean, I think a bit of the juices from the turkey, sticking them into the gravy always seems to make it taste a bit nicer. But, I mean, stock cubes and teriyaki, it's not one that I'm going to be trying, Mike, to be honest.
Now, I don't want to impinge on any personal situations, but you look as if you've got a bit of a bruised eye there.
That's right, I picked this up. You're the first person this morning to ask that. So I picked this up playing football in Croydon, which I represent in Parliament, on Sunday. And it was actually, I got punched in the face by one of my own team, but it was by mistake. I was trying to head the ball off the goal line, and the keeper came for it as well and had the idea of punching the ball away. We were both watching the ball, and unfortunately the keeper, Darren, ended up punching me in the face by mistake. And that's where the bruise came from.
That's such a good story, it must be true, because normally people make stories up about how they got a black eye, but thank you very much indeed. Chris Philp, Shadow Home Secretary on College Green.